Hey friends, welcome back to Oopsie Daisy. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I am your host, Amanda Herdler. Here at Oopsie Daisy, we talk about the real, the raw, the messy, the struggle, the strange, the wonderful, the weird that is walking with Jesus. So I am so happy that you are coming to hang out with me today. We're going to do a little pivot, if you will. Can it do something that we have not done before yet on Oopsie Daisy? We do a lot of teaching, a lot of sharing of like real deep, hard hitting stories. There's just like real faith lessons. And those are all real and vulnerable and practical, applicable to your life. But like also, let's talk about real life a little bit. There's sort of this, I don't know if it's a trap or routine that we fall in as Christians where we sort of don't acknowledge the fact that we also live a regular life. We eat dinner and we take showers and we read books that aren't Christian books and we listen to music from our favorite artists. We watch Netflix. We go to the grocery store. Like, it's not all this, like, I spent my whole day in the Bible studying, and then I ministered on the streets, and then I led 3 people to Christ. Okay, yeah. I mean, that also sounds amazing, but that's not what my life looks like. And I'm guessing maybe your life doesn't look this way either. This episode was kind of spurred on by a couple things. First, my daughter asked me on Sunday after church, and she looked at me and she said, "What do pastors, like people that are paid to be pastors and worship leaders and all these things, what do they do when they're not at church?" I'm like, they have real lives. Like, they have to pick their kids up from school. They have to walk the dog. They have to pay their bills. Like, and I was just so struck by the fact that she sort of maybe thought that that's all they did. They lived at church. They lived with Jesus. And I'm just was sort of giggling at the fact that she did not even recognize or have any framework for the idea that these are just real people, that this was the job that they were called to do. And that kind of hit my heart because we don't really talk about things that aren't Bible related here, or things that don't have to do directly with your relationship with Jesus or your testimony or your struggle. Like, we talk about all that, but do we talk like friends about what's going on and what you're reading and what you're loving and what is like lighting your eyebrows on fire with happiness? We don't talk about that a lot. And then I ran into this story about Barbara Brown Taylor. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's a super incredible Christian teacher, has written some really great books, and it talked about how there was a time when she was supposed to go to a speaking engagement and she had no idea what to speak on. And so she talked to the, event coordinator or the director, and he just said to her, "Tell us 3 things that are saving your life right now." And she did that. And that struck me so deep when I read that, because there was a million lessons and teachings and sermons that I have in my notes and in my Google Drive, just waiting to put the microphone up and say those things. And none of them felt right at all. I don't know why. They're great. They're impactful. I truly believe they're from the Lord, but none of those felt right to do today. And so when I read that felt right. I was like, okay, well, what are 3 things about Jesus that are saving my life right now? What are 3 things that I can pull out of the Bible that are saving my life right now? And I realized after looking into it a little bit, this is not a practice of pulling 3 things out that you think you should say that are saving your life that make you sound like a good Christian. It's not that. It's literally just what in your real life right now is serving you well, is giving you joy, is saving your sanity, is just kind of getting you through. What is that for you right now? So we're going to talk about it today. And maybe my 3 things can spark ideas for your 3 things about what can save your life in this season. New format, new idea, new adventure. Why am I not surprised that this is the avenue God led us down today? Let's go. First thing that is saving my life lately are paperback books. And I'm not talking Christian, deep hitting theology, self help, how to pray better, how to love God better, how to love your neighbor better, how to be a better Christian. It's none of that. I'm talking straight fiction paperback books. I have been turning to those more and more when life feels overwhelming, when the digital world feels so like a cloud. No pun intended, because it is the cloud. But sometimes it feels like there's just this weightless experience about life where we go online and go into the ether and go into this weird place where everybody posts everything. And most people are selling things or trying to get you to buy their next guide for how to lower your inflammation and detox your gut and help your quiet time. And everybody has an opinion about every single thing around the world. And most people are arguing amongst themselves about it. And that has made me lately feel slimy. It's made me feel overwhelmed. It has worked me up emotionally about things that, I'm going to be honest, I don't maybe even have a business knowing. Like, I think about the days of the Pony Express. You would only know the news around your little village, around your town, your like little dusty Western town. That's the news that you would get. And if something happened that was big, that was far away, that news would come, but it wouldn't necessarily be an onslaught of it. You wouldn't drown in it. You wouldn't get people's real time reactions of it. You wouldn't be so inundated with it that it caused you stress outside of your own life. And so lately, I've been disengaging from the digital space. I've been posting podcast clips. I haven't been really making any other videos. I haven't been engaging with any videos. I haven't really been reading a lot because I'm in a season where that all feels very, very overwhelming. And I have different assignments with my time. I have different focuses for my emotions that the Lord has given me that I have had to intentionally step back. So as I step back from the digital space, I found myself more and more running to fiction paperback books. And so I read those at night before I go to bed. And it is this incredible experience of winding down and smelling the pages. That's such a stupid like image and visual that I get in my head. But you know how a library smells? You guys, I've been going to the library. I've been checking out books. I've been reading said books, holding the weight of the paper in my hand, and it has been healing my soul. There's no work to be done on me at the end of the night. There's no Christian influencer that I'm reading their words and they're telling me God wants you to do X, Y, Z. It's like the pressure is off at night and I can just escape into a world that is not my own, where nobody's asking anything of me. Nobody's asking for my opinion. And I just get to read a good story. So paperback fictions, two that I read recently that I highly recommend to you are Remarkably Bright Creatures. And today I just finished a book called Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. Two of the most random books, things that I have seen on the shelf before and have never picked up, but they were recommended to me by some friends a while back. And I finally got out of the struggle of like, oh, I can only read to improve my Christianity and myself. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's read a story. And as I was reflecting on both of those books and why I fell so deeply in love with them, I realized that in both of the books, characters' lives unfolded in, this is really hitting me. Why am I crying? This is paperback books, you guys. Come on, Amanda, get it together. I realized, though, that these main characters' lives were unfolding in very unexpected ways that were incredibly healing and redemptive to them. Like they were just making choice by individual choice, step by small step, and kind of unsure of themselves the entire time, like not quite sure where it was leading, not quite sure where they were going, not quite sure they were on the right path. But me, as like this eye in the sky reader, I could look at both of those characters and see how every unexpected interaction and relationship and situation that they got involved in was incredibly healing for them, and that little by little they were becoming whole again, and they were getting pieced back together in a way that they didn't have to try for. And I just thought, you know what? That's God. As we stumble through our lives, He is watching the story be put together, and He sees how each little step we take is another piece that unlocks a more whole, happy, healthy version of ourselves as He guides us. And so, are these books Christian? Absolutely not. But man, oh man, did it make me appreciate the fact that our steps are ordered by the Lord and that He has a good plan for us. So, I'm not reading Christian fiction. And, maybe I should spend that time before bed reading my Bible, but these fiction stories have pointed me towards the character of God in a way that feels so peaceful and so joyful and so natural that is saving me from the muck and the mud of the world online that I am escaping. The second thing that's saving me in this season is spontaneity. I've walked through a really hard last 6 months, I realized. And so much of my life, so much of my every single day during the last 6 months is so tightly organized and scheduled and like gripped in my controlling hands. And I realized that that's sort of choking the life out of me. And so I decided to do spontaneous things. This started back in July when I was headed to Wisconsin Dells on a family vacation. And we hadn't really looked ahead of time if there was any special activities. We knew we were doing a water park, and we had a great, vacation home we were staying in with my siblings and their families and my parents. But I hadn't looked if there was any specific activities that we wanted to do. And so on the drive over to Wisconsin Dells, I was on like TripAdvisor going, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff we could do. We could go kart, we could shop, we could go see this nighttime light adventure walk. And then I saw an advertisement for petting alligators. And I was like, yes, let's do it. And I said to my husband, I was like, do you want to pet alligators? And him and my kids were like, absolutely not. That's not even a question. Like, they looked at me like it was an absolute fool. And I said, you know what? I don't even think it's about petting the alligator. I think it's just showing up somewhere and being able to tell the story and pull just this crazy, beautiful memory out of your back pocket that says, hey, one time without planning, I petted an alligator. I mean, spoiler alert, it costs way too much money to do that. I was going to pet an alligator for like 10 minutes and it was going to cost me $50. So I, alas, did not purchase that particular experience, but I carried that spark with me since July and how much that lit up my soul, and it became my mantra. And one of my girlfriends, if she's listening, Trina, has heard me say this aloud over the summer, is let's pet the alligators. Just pet the alligator. And that to me has come to mean make a spontaneous choice. Do an unexpected activity. Make a move that maybe doesn't make a lot of logical sense or might cost you a little more than you think should, but you're doing it for the joy and the spark of life, for the story that it brings, for the memory that you make. I just did this with my daughter a few weeks ago. So my daughter's turning 15. And so anytime she's like, hey, mom, do you wanna? I'm like, yeah, I wanna. And 90% of the time, it makes no sense. But I am so committed to making spontaneous memories with my kids that on a random Sunday night, she didn't have school the next day. I had to work the next day. And it was like 6:00. And she looked at me and goes, hey, mom, do you want to go shopping and get nautical balls? And all of these excuses popped into my head. Like, this is ridiculous. It's 6:00 on a Sunday night. I have to work tomorrow morning. A shopping and a nautical bowls date is like a Friday night thing or a Saturday morning thing. And I opened my mouth to say no and to be like, let's pick a date that actually works for us. And instead, I said to her, heck yeah, let's do it. And so we ran upstairs and my husband's like, you're going right now. You're going to go shopping and go get nautical bowls right now. And we were like, yeah, we're doing it. And we were only gone for a few hours, but it was the most fun experience. We got in the car, jacked up on like the spontaneity of it all, and we bumped our music and we sang our songs and we laughed and we spent way too much money on plant-based fruits and granola that should cost way less than it does. But it was delicious and it was delightful. There was a day we were driving to a volleyball tournament and it was like 3:45 in the afternoon. And my younger daughter looked at me and said, "Hey, we're driving by the ice cream shop. Do you want to go get ice cream?" I mean, who gets that's like an after the game thing, right? Like, "Oh, great, you did great. Let's go get ice cream." And I was like, "Nah, let's do it right now." And I veered off, like maybe sort of irresponsibly veered off to turn left and head to the ice cream shop at 3:45 in the afternoon. We got our ice cream and ate it on the way to the game in the car. Just little things like that where you would normally say no, that doesn't make sense. Choosing the weird thing, choosing the memory, choosing the joy and the laughter of it over what like actually makes logical sense in your life, that has been making me feel so incredibly sparkly in a life, in a world, in a routine that can feel like mundane and hard and heavy sometimes. Just being willing to care less about what's expected and care less about the logical and just live life. God gifted us these beautiful experiences and opportunities. And if we let it, real life, real adulting, logical decisions are going to choke out the incredibly beautiful journey and adventure that you get to have in your life. I mean, maybe it's just a trussed up version of YOLO. Remember YOLO? You only live once. Maybe I'm just catching up to that train and just rebranded it in a way that works for me, but I am committed to petting every alligator that I can and smiling and laughing my full head off as I do it. And the third thing that is saving my life right now is something that God whispered to me about a month ago. He reminded me that I had stopped looking for the good in situations, and I was so busy preparing myself for the worst case scenario. I was preparing myself for things to be so hard and so heavy and so negative. And I had forgotten the fact that He has good plans for me, the fact that He has delightful experiences for me, that He has blessings for me. And so He whispered 3 words a few weeks ago that absolutely have become my banner, my badge, my creed to live by, and that is expect the good. And I can't believe how much of a change I've seen in myself and my perspective in the last few weeks, that I've really been clinging to that. But I take it with me into every situation. You know, when my daughter goes back to serve at a critical point in a volleyball game, I'm not worried that she's going to screw up, and I just say to myself, expect the good. When my work meetings seem to be piling up and I know they're coming, and I say, God, I still need time to homeschool my youngest, and I got a podcast and I got to do all this. How am I going to do this? And He says to me, expect the good. And I do. And I let go of my worry and I watch as He sprinkles my meetings throughout the week in a way that I could never plan how good they work out. He puts a good chunk of them when Paige is gone at her homeschool academy so that I'm not missing any time as a homeschool teacher, but I can still focus professionally on my full-time job. Meetings that I thought were going to happen, that were going to conflict with something that I already had on my calendar or that I needed to do, those miraculously just sort of get canceled somehow. It's really, really crazy that I just go into it and go, okay, God's going to take care of it for me. God's going to make my way for me. God's going to stack the deck and set the chessboard and move the boulders out of the way in order to bring me favor and blessing and good things. And so now I have to catch myself. When I start to feel that little like, when you start to get worried and you're like, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I'm really nervous about this. I hope this goes well. I take a deep breath and I just say, expect the good. Because I know that my good God has good plans and he's really good at executing those plans. So I get to let go and I get to relax and I get to watch how everything just seems to line up exactly the way it's supposed to, exactly when it's supposed to, in a way that not only benefits me, but my family and the people I love. And he just takes really good care of us. I gotta be real with you. When I started this podcast, I was like, this is a really stupid idea. Like, who cares? Who cares what books you're reading? Who cares if you are doing spontaneous thing? Nobody cares, Amanda. This isn't like hard-hitting Christian advice. But as I was speaking right now, and I'm like I'm really sort of getting choked up about this, is I'm realizing that this is all related to gratitude. That it's not so much that I'm struggling to the point where I'm going to die and this is going to save my life, but this is turning my brain towards the glimmers from heaven. Have you heard about glimmers? This is like, I don't know, not a new thing, but something that's recently come across my path is the idea of looking for glimmers throughout your day. Unexpected ways that things turn out really well, things that make you smile, things that are beautiful, things that just kind of set your heart quickening a little bit. Sound like a 17th century poet, but just things that make your soul feel happy and light and airy. That's a glimmer. And those are winks from heaven. That's what I really call them. It's like this small, undeniable moment where you feel God sort of part the clouds and just smile at you and be like, yeah, I got you. I'm here. I see what you're going through. I see what you need. Trust me. So when I decided to do this podcast about this today, and I started listing the things that were saving my life in this season, I came up with a lot more than 3. And I was so thankful. I was so full of gratitude. And I was just able to pray and thank the Lord for all the goodness in my life, among all the weeds and the thorns and the hard and the rocks and the weird. So maybe that's your assignment this week is, what are 3 things that are saving your life? If you can't come up with any, please borrow mine. Go to the library, weirdly sniff a book, use your library card. It's very nostalgic, I'll be honest with you. Swipe that card, check that book out, pet every alligator, say yes to ridiculous and illogical things, and expect the good. Watch the Lord line up things in your life for you and wink at you from heaven. But I do hope in this season that you have a million little things that are saving you. And I hope God brings them all to mind and that you're so overflowing with gratitude that it knocks the despair and the depression and the worry and the stress and the control heaviness out of every dusty cobweb corner of your soul this week. That's it. That's all I got for you today. Go, my friend, and find God in the glimmers and enjoy every second of it. I love you guys. We'll talk next week.